one that should be looked at on all fronts. What do you make of this summit? Because again, Emmanuel Macron has described the gathering, which he said had attracted about 23 billion euros in planned investments for Africa as proof of France's commitment to a partnership of equals with African counterparts. What do you make of this, Barrister?
It is yet again another milestone in the insult of African leaders. In other words, Macron have taken it to the next level. Of course, I don't see why Macron, with all the baggages and all the problems in France, will leave his country and come to Africa, Kenya to be precise, to give us economic succor. And African leaders will gather there to listen to him while he is treating them like a headmaster, commanding his pupils. They didn't see anything wrong with that. In fact, it's an insult on his own. They came to give you a handout with the insult that follow it, and you are so happy about it. Why should you people gather in Kenya? Because somebody want to give you a handout to develop your country, and you didn't see anything wrong with that.
Are you saying that this is, just like some opposition figures have said, that this is just another neo-colonial investment trap dressed as partnership? Is that what you're also saying as well, Barrister?
Of course. That's why I call it an insult. Because the way the man is putting it, see, it looks like he came to give us, don't dash us money. Meanwhile, you will pay for every kobo they are giving you. Every kobo. So what is the benefit of trapping Africans with debt? What is the benefit here? I didn't see anything.
Now, Barrister, why should African nations beg for fair credit when Nigeria already proved debt release was possible in 2005? I mean, is today's leadership really weakened? Or what are we seeing across Africa?
I have told you, you don't have a thinking leaders. The leaders you have in Africa are plunderers. It's like God who selected them to ravage Africa. These guys, they have insulted me and most Africans, the way they behave, the way they talk, the way they relate with the Western world. They don't even behave as if we are independent. The way they differ to these people, you would think that slave trade and colonialism is still out there. So what is the essence of being independent? When you see be behaving as if you are at the whims and caprices of the Western colonial masters. You are not free. You are not free the way we are behaving. With all the mineral resources in Africa, David, is it not painful? You ask God to bless you with mineral resources, yet you don't know what to do with it. You just give it out to Western powers, and they're using it to develop their own country. Then you go there and pay for those services. You get there and pay for good environment, good hotels, good social amenities. Meanwhile, these things we are developed with your own money, with your own resources, with your own raw materials, with your mineral resources. Look at Donald Trump coming to make peace in DR Congo. DR Congo, and he said that in exchange for your mineral resources, and he's getting it. David, he's getting it big time. So at the end of the day, who loses and who gains? You can see what we are talking about. I say we don't have African leaders, seriously. If I have my way, I will flog all of them.
All right, then. Let's take this conversation to Kampala. Well, Barrister Edward, looking at, first of all, what is the mood in Kampala today? Because we understand today is a swearing-in ceremony for President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Again, the 5th time of his 5-year term, I beg your pardon, of his 5-year term in office. What do you make of the surrounding of Kampala? What's the mood like? Let me start off from there.
It's bad. The mood is bad. And it's not expectation of Ugandans at all. David, are you hearing me?
I can hear you. Go ahead. I can hear you clearly.
But in fact, the mood is totally worse because This was not expectation of people who actually went to vote, who cast a vote to get the leaders they wanted. So these leaders who have been imposed for the leadership of Uganda, Uganda is actually leading. Uganda is a country where people are seated. Nobody is even bothered. Museveni is actually swearing. Instead, Museveni has deployed everywhere. The son is doing a good job for him to swear in, which is not actually democracy. We need Africans to learn. Let's learn. Let Africans open their eyes. We are growing. Imagine I've grown from the day Museveni entered in power. And I'm today watching. Actually, this is my third time now watching Museveni swearing in. What a shame. So we are not happy as Ugandans. We are not there for that swearing in. We don't respect him as a president.
All right then. Let me
Exactly.
all right then. Let's move this conversation back to the summit happening in Kenya. Looking at the fact that President Emmanuel Macron clearly has stated that this would be a clear understanding of partnership of equals with African counterparts. Again, just like Barrister in the studio here said, should we continue to ask for handouts from the European bodies? Plus, looking at the fact that the pledge is, of course, investment and not debt relief, Africa still pays high interest rates of all of this funding that has been given to them. What's your position with this as well?
David, let me echo almost the same words of my senior counsel in the studio. African leaders are just like children who are waiting at the entrance of the kitchen to receive food to eat. African leaders have forgotten how to fight their own problems. African leaders are depending on now the so-called the helpers. Africa as a continent is a very rich continent with minerals, with the human capital, with everything in Africa. Instead, we have abused what is ours. Africa, actually the leadership today, what is in Kenya, they say when a deal is too sweet, you should think twice. What is in Kenya, what France is doing right now, is actually to use Kenya as a backup option after losing influence from other areas like West Africa. So Kenya is actually used as a backup, and I'm wondering after receiving out of those annals,
Right.
you get that in actual sense, what the leaders are doing is to receive for themselves, for the few who have attended this function. But they forget what Africa, the problems we are facing. We have faced a lot. I'm wondering what African Union, which I continuously keep mentioning, that African Union should make sure it comes with the actually the so-called solutions which are going to maintain Africa in, these leaders who are totally in thinking about their stomach. They are not thinking about the providing leadership. They are not thinking about democracy, like what you see in Uganda, which is my country. So Africa is bleeding. We need leadership. So what is in Kenya is totally stamping to make sure that they receive whatever they want to receive, and that is all.
All right, then let me still stay in Uganda, but I'm going to switch gears now because I understand that Dr. Joseph Opul has joined the conversation. Let's establish communication with you. Doctor, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you for joining the conversation this afternoon.
Yeah, thank you very, very much, David, and my fellow colleagues, barristers.
All right, then.
I'm seeing Edward there, and then I don't know who else is there.
Barrister Darlington is here as well in Nigeria.
Darlington.
Yeah.
Though I had my colleague Barrister Edward was trying to parade the wrong information to the public, which I'm going to clarify early as possible.
When you say
When
wrong
given the chance.
information, what are you referring to?
I heard some of his words saying that the swearing is going on, but many people are not concerned. The Ugandans, I think, are not happy. If I heard it very well, anyhow, I think that is not true. So first of all, when you say Ugandans, it means all the 47 million Ugandans are not supporting. Maybe there are those who are not supporting President Yoweri Museveni's election. After all, he got, I think, 71, 72%. So we have 28% who did not support him. So those certainly may not be happy with his swearing in.
So are you
But we
saying,
have the other 71.
are you saying the mood in Uganda, contrary to what Barrister Edward told us, is that the people are happy with the swearing-in ceremony of President Yoweri Museveni, who again has been in power for over 40 years? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Certainly, there are people who were happy about the swearing of President Museveni. I am one of them. But also, it doesn't mean that the Ugandans do not have challenges. Like any other country, even if you go to the US, the US is one of the world-class democracies and governments that we have. But when you go to the US, there are people who are homeless, there are people who are unemployed, we have gunshots everywhere. They have been trying to assassinate their president time and again. So the challenges are there, but we need to celebrate the little that we have.
Okay.
So to me, I was not happy. Mr. Edward, who I know is a very good friend of mine, for attempting to parade lies and speaking on behalf of Ugandans. That
Well, I would
praise
not.
his word that say,
I would
"I'm
not.
Ugandans."
I would not, Doctor. I would not allow you say that he's spreading lies. He has his opinion and his sentiment, so we should respect that as well.
And when you say Ugandans, it means all of them.
He said some
These
Ugandans.
statements are not. Yeah, you can add there some. That
Yeah.
one is okay. Because even President Yoweri Museveni knows that there are people who don't like him.
All right,
He
then.
knows that.
All right, then. Well, I'm still going to come to stories from Uganda, but I'm going to ask you now, looking at the situation in Kenya, and I'm talking about the Africa France summit happening in Kenya with heads of states across Africa converging together. Emmanuel Macron has said that, look, this particular convergence has attracted 23 billion euros in planned investment for Africa as proof of France's commitment to a partnership of equals with African counterparts. Now, some oppositions have said that, look, this is not a giveaway. It's a loan, whether we like it or not. But what's your position about the fact that African leaders consistently keep asking for loans to this point of not even looking at debt relief?
Anytime any African nation, no matter which one, but among the 54, each time we have an engagement with the Western powers, global North, in this case right now we're talking about France, you should treat everything with a grain of salt. Why must France be interested in funding African affairs? What is their interest? You mean there are no other issues that France can spend their money on other than attempting to cure the problems which are in Africa? And then also, it is even the highest time that African governments and leaders should stop relying on the global North. And in this case specifically, we're talking about France. There is nothing that we should be wanting from Europe or from the global North. Everything we have in Africa. In any case, in the near future, African countries should start funding the global North countries. We shall start funding Europe. We shall start funding Africa. Only if we can start utilizing our resources properly. I think in Africa we have a very serious problem, not just in Kenya, in the whole of Africa, including Uganda. We have a very strong or dangerous mindset issues, where you find that some of the leaders live in luxury life ahead
Oh dear. Well, I think we're having a bit of network situation there, but let me bring it back to the. Okay. Doctor, go ahead with your thoughts so we can.
They have to fly head of state.
Yeah.
Why must, if a head of state falls sick in any place, he must be treated there as much as the citizens get the same services. So we just need to reorganize ourselves as African leaders. Let's utilize the little that we have. We have minerals. Africa is the richest country in the whole world, with the minerals, with the resources like soil, rain, and many more others. But we just need to use them properly, and we should stop begging from any country in the global north. And in the same way, you're talking about death. Why do we get this money? We borrow this money, then the corruption steals them, then we buy luxury things, we buy arms for killing our own brothers and sisters, and many more others. I think this must stop in the near future.
All right, then. Let me still stay with you, Doctor, because again, I really, really would want to get your view on the situation ongoing in your country. Now, particularly, I'm talking about, of course, today is the swearing-in ceremony, and a lot of persons have clearly said that as it stands, Uganda should be on the right path. I mean, one of such persons is Dr. I beg your pardon, Barrister Edward, who have said that Uganda can do better. But let's stay on the part of the deal signed with the DRC, where, of course, the bilateral agreement covering trade, security, diplomatic relations, and tourism has been signed with the DRC. President Felix Tshisekedi did, of course, travel to Kampala for the 6th session of the Joint Standing Committee ahead of President Yoweri Museveni swearing in today. But from your position, do you think that a nation like the DRC, which is coming from the insecurity situation that have bedeviled them for years, can have a major agreement of this nature? Or do you think, like some persons are saying, this is another optics that both presidents are pushing for Africans?
Geographically, you must be aware that Congo is very adjacent to Uganda from the western part of the country of Uganda. And therefore, any problem happening in Congo or in Uganda must affect any person who's in Congo or who's in Uganda. When the Congolese houses or a house is burning, Uganda should not fold their hands. Uganda should not celebrate. So as far as the engagement on trade, tourism, and security is concerned, it's right and fitting because these are very good neighboring countries. And remember that even without disagreement, there is trade ongoing between Uganda and DRC. There is tourism ongoing between Uganda and DRC, including security measures are ongoing. So this is not even a start. The engagement is only to buttress whatever has already been going on.
Okay, now
and therefore to make it even much more.
Now, Doctor, I would still want you to hold your thoughts. There are concerns raised about the fact that even as we speak in Uganda, there is no enforceable minimum wage signed into law. I don't know if you have an idea to that particular perception, but then if there is any, let Africans know which is operational right now in your country. Because again, like I said, this is
discussing. We are discussing issues.
So the reason why I said so,
engagement between Congo and Uganda.
Yes,
you have come back to the minimum wage, but then let me answer your question about the minimum wage.
Good.
Of course, you must remember recently I wrote an article, an open letter to the president about the issue of minimum wage in Uganda. One, Uganda does not have a minimum wage, to be very straight with you, but that is not the ideal. The president are having engagements with the government of Uganda so that we have minimum wage, so that Ugandans are not exploited. Many companies and organizations who come to work in Uganda, they are the ones who decide how much money they want to pay Ugandans. And this is not the case in the rest of the world. So the president should consider this as one of the issues that he should work on during this term. He has said this term is called his term no sleep, meaning that he is very awake, he's very vibrant. We hope that we will get the best out of the 7th term.
All right, then. Thank you so very much, Doctor, for that position. Let me bring it back to the studio before I return back to Kampala, where Barrister Edward is also waiting on the sideline. Barrister Darlington, again, this is a conversation that is quite interesting as far as Africans are concerned. The swearing in is today, and of course is happening right now as we speak in Kampala, Uganda. But you just heard him. There is no signed minimum wage. What is the interest of workers, who again are the workforce of the country in Uganda?
That means the people of Uganda have been sold to foreign companies. The workers of Uganda who are wallowing in abject poverty is not a concern to Yoweri Museveni. I am disappointed that somebody in Uganda is praising what is going on today, especially a Yoweri Museveni who has been in office for 7 good terms. The mere fact that this man have stayed for this long in Uganda is a no-no for me. So anybody telling me whatever, I disagree with that person. Why can't African leaders emulate Mandela, who suffered for 27 years to save the people of South Africa? Today, this man laid the foundation for a strong South Africa. Look at the economy. Ejirose Nyerere passed through Tanzania. So why are we not copying what is good? What exactly is Yoweri Museveni looking for in government house in Uganda? The thing has turned into a family affair, and somebody is celebrating it in Uganda. Come on. So you people are very, very comfortable with slavery. That Yoweri Museveni and his family have taken over Uganda, and you are telling me that all is well. All cannot be well. This is not a democracy in Uganda. No matter how you want to pamper it, I disagree with you, my brother. You people are not even helping matters. Because you're a member of the party or something, does not warrant you to sell your conscience and to sell Ugandan people to Yoweri Museveni.
Well, then again, Barrister,
the man that contested with him, Bobby Wine, didn't you see what he went through in Uganda? Is that democracy? Please, is that what you call democracy?
The choice of candidacy is very clear. Everybody can support anyone.
But the way he's saying it, David, no, the way he's saying it, it means that he's part of the oppressors.
Well, he did say,
he's part of the oppressor, and he's a member of a Ugandan citizenship.
But Barrister, he did say that he's hoping that the president looks into
after
that
how many years?
direction.
Please, hold on, David. I'm going to join 2 of you together. After how many years?
I don't understand, Barrister. I'm only asking the questions here.
Yes, you are moderating, but I don't like this kind of moderation. The man has stayed there for 47 years. He didn't remember that there should be minimum wage in Uganda. It's not that he wants to. You are begging him to do the needful.
Yoweri Museveni's government used wage advisory mechanism while in office, and of course, no law to that level.
But this man said that foreigners should not bring money to Uganda.
Well, that's the new sovereignty bill.
That is, what kind of law is that? What kind of policy is that? But he living large with his family from the sweat of Ugandans. And somebody is telling me that a man that has been in office for over 40 years is doing well.
Barrister,
is it the only person in Uganda?
Change is the only constant in life. Is that a possibility that you are hoping that Yoweri Museveni would be having a minimum wage signed into law in a couple of days after swearing?
It is too late. David, whatever he does
better
now.
Better late than never, don't you think?
Yes, it's true. It's true. How many people have died under this condition? How many people have died? How many have suffered in Uganda because of his leadership? I said that young man that contested with him, why didn't he allow free and fair election? And somebody telling me he gained 72%. Is that not a fraudulent election? Doctor, talk truth. Just say the truth.
All right,
did the Ugandans vote Yoweri Museveni?
Well, I asked the questions here, Barrister. So let's take back this conversation to Uganda. Barrister Edward, I don't know if you're still with us. I'd like to establish communication with you again. Thank you for staying by. Okay, yes, you're still with us. Now, looking at the fact that sweeping reform aimed at strengthening workers' protection is a question at the front burner, where experts are saying that the president has left this contentious issue of a national minimum wage unresolved. What do you make of this as well?
Thank you, David. I want to tell David, and my colleague at the studio that Mr. Opul is actually a technocrat, and I do much with him. And you know, when two disagree in politics, does not mean they disagree in so many areas. So I just want to remind my brother that because we have come almost in the same village, that going to our village, in fact to see that when celebration for swearing in of president, you would get the way people actually celebrate even on our roads. But today, I want you to go to just walk around your city. If you are in Soroti, you get that everyone minds about his own business. It is the reason that we are no longer a feeling. It's just like doing exam, which is Museveni is doing. He has passed exam and that is it. He has decided to say he's the president and he has marked himself to be a president. But in actual sense, Ugandans are not happy. I want my brother to believe that. And the 71, 72
well,
you are talking about.
Okay, so I'm still staying with you,
71.
Barrister. He did say we should use the word some because he said he's happy that the fact that President Yoweri Museveni is in office. So he's one Ugandan that is happy. So it's not all Ugandan that is happy with it.
It's very true, David. He's part of the team which is happy, but I want just to remind you that even in Kololo, I want to assure you, you are not even allowed to go there because the field is all full for soldiers. It's actually the soldiers celebrating, not the people whom you expect that you are voters. And that is the reality. I just want, if there was a way I would actually screen, I would have screenshot you this video because I'm in the city right now we talk. I'm in Kampala. I'm not in Nairobi.
All right, then.
I'm in Kampala. So the reality,
Edward, go and meet your head of
this
state.
allow me to make my statement.
Go ahead,
So,
go ahead.
it is unfortunate it is unfortunate that we would actually continue praising the person who would be a advisor to us as young people. The person who would have actually decided to hand over power years ago to continue swearing in today. It is not actually something some of us as young people. We are fighting democracy. We are fighting to see that can wake up. The leadership today should be actually be very careful. Whatever they are looking to come, we have people who are supposed to take over. And what example are they making? What example are they showing? So it is exactly what we are talking about. That African leadership should always try to look at some of these policies that are not policies which are actually helping their own people. They are policies helping their own.
All right, then. Well, again, I would like to still stay with you three gentlemen. And maybe in 30 seconds, I would want your opinion on this particular question. The fact that in 1970, Idi Amin imposed strict wage controls and subsidy, but economic collapse followed due to mismanagement and sanctions. In 1980s, the Milton Obote attempted wage stabilization under IMF guardians, austerity measures, and of course worsened poverty as well in the country. Now, Yoweri Museveni in 1990, structural adjustment program prioritized foreign investment, the same foreign investment we're going to be having the sovereignty bill come, kill, and destroy. But then again, my question now would be, what is the way forward? And I'm going to start from you, Dr. Opul Joseph, in 30 seconds because we're pressed for time. What do you think is the way forward, particularly for workers who are clamoring for better wage structure to help live good as Ugandan citizens? In 30 seconds, Dr. Opul.
Forward was already there.
Go ahead.
Besides the president signing the minimum wage law in place, salary, for me, I am an employee of government, but I don't believe in salary so much. The workers, government should support workers with soft loans.
All right, then.
Government should support workers with the skills development on top of the minimum wage law that the government is supposed to pass.
Okay.
and then life will be okay. What about after you have retired from government? How are you going to survive?
All right, then. Thank you so very much, Dr. Joseph. All right, let me take it back to Barrister Edward. In 30 seconds, your opinion as well. What's the way forward? 30 seconds.
David, you need to know that at that time of 1980s, our currency was doing better. Actually, I think it was the East African something. If we look at it, I'm not very sure, but if it was just the currency we are talking about today, the currency was better than today we are talking about. So you get that the old old woman who could actually have only 200 shillings in Kampala would survive. But today you have 150,000 notes, the Ugandan currency, one note. So I feel Museveni should first try to rectify some basics. The basics come first. That way, finding he has delayed. He cannot do it even now because we already gave him time. What is he going to do? He has delayed. So I feel the economy to grow, you should now start from the basics.
We're already pressed for time. Thank you so very much, Barrister Edward, for your submission. Let me bring it back to Nigeria. Doctor, 30 seconds. What's the way forward for this situation?
The people of Uganda should insist on the prudent management of their resources. If they allow Yoweri and his family to be living this kind of lavish lifestyle, very soon they will have something worse than Idi Amin on their hand, and they should not blame anybody, including those who are supporting, who say that they are employment of government.
All right, then.
Because somebody supported Idi Amin, when he was there, people were supporting Idi Amin until the bubble burst.
All right, then. Thank you so very much, Barrister Darlington Agumor, for your submission this beautiful afternoon. Thank you for being here. Also, big thank you to you, Barrister Edward Okwara-Matakinye, joining the conversation virtually all the way from Uganda. Thank you so very much for joining as well. And then Dr. Opul Joseph, thank you so very much for chiming in your voice this afternoon. I want to say a big thank you to you as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Wishing you the best.
All right, then.
I also invited Barrister.
Oh, well, inviting Barrister to Kampala is another conversation. He definitely will be making that invite when you call on him. We'll take a very short break right now. No, let's jump right into the conversations, ongoing other stories that we have for you. Former Trade Cabinet Secretary Moses Kurai has said President William Ruto can still be re-elected in 2027, even if he does not get a single vote from the Mount Kenya region.